others. Tim Maloney has always followed what the Big 12 has done, has coached for a long, long time in his lifetime, been all overseas, coached with Scott Drew. And Tim, thank you as always, Craig Smoke, Paul Catalina, and David Smoke. So, and thanks for your time. How does Scott Drew, in your opinion, he's seen this slow trickle that's become a little heavier of his staff getting these opportunities. How do you think he reacts to it?
You have to think to yourself that you're going to go out and basically look for the best again and get people within your team of joy that make you the best that you could possibly be. So that's part of the deal for the person that's the CEO, right? I mean, the people that are in the wings are often not talked about enough, and that's just the nature of the beast. But the wings are where you get the ability to fly, and so he's got to go. And I'm certain that he has a lot of people that are coming after him to try to be a part of what he's doing. But moreover, I think he probably has in his mind people that he thinks would be the best fit. But whenever this happens, it's just a sign of real success, right? I mean, when people are getting opportunities and going to other, situations that may better their families, et cetera, and the dreams and desires that they have, that's just a sign of prosperity, of a good thing. And but it definitely puts Scott in a double mode, right? You have the recruiting piece that probably this month is supernatural, is crazy. And not that it's not crazy other months, but it's really crazy right now with the portal. And then just fortifying your group with people that not just can do certain things, from recruiting to, basketball, but really be able to fit as a team, to be people that have the attitude you're looking for. Because the first thing that coaches the team is how the staff themselves work with each other.
How good of a coach of coaches is he then?
I mean, I think he's great. I think he's, somebody that a lot of people want to really work with. I don't think it's just because Baylor is successful. I mean, the bottom line is that's going to attract a portion of people that want to be involved with that shine so they can maybe in their mind market themselves better. But that's not really the population of human that you necessarily would be looking for. You're looking for, people that are not about that. They're about a we situation over a me, and that have a faith-based JOY, Jesus, others, yourself. So that cuts it down, because that's not the world we live in terms of, most people in any profession. So I think Scott will take his time. I'm pretty sure that he's got people that are already in his mind, and he's already talking to. But I think he's clearly somebody that's able to allow other people to be themselves, and at the same time get everybody to be one together.
Tim, obviously he would love to have the staff intact, and you were a part of that, and all the others that are spread out throughout the country. But is there anyone happier when John Jacobs, Alvin Brooks, Grant McCaslin, Jerome Tang, Paul Mills, Matt Driscoll, Tim Maloney, or others, when they do scatter about? Is there anyone more positive about it than him?
Just those people's parents. I would say again, it's something that Billy Donovan said a time ago, and he may have, and Scott, he may have talked about that even, longer than 2 decades ago, that it's really a sign of something special you should desire for those that you work with to get opportunities. And definitely I saw Scott, as that. He was somebody, there was a couple of Division I opportunities that happened that I witnessed Scott, go more than out of his way for people, and to advice wise, and even, just within his budget, making sure that he flew people out to talk to different people that were involved, and I was one of them when Florida Gulf Coast opened years ago, and there was an interest early on, and then a second time. So he is definitely somebody that wants that, and at the same time, he has to be diligent to what's next because he's lost 4 people. I mean, and those are 4 significant people. Guys that have really been a part of some serious winning and play serious roles. I mean, Alvin Brooks is, like on the Starship Enterprise when it comes to every part of hoops. I mean, I worked with Alvin for a year. I think he's ridiculously intelligent. He's a very quiet, perceptive guy. Doesn't try to be the show. Doesn't try to, broadcast his opinion every time. He listens to everybody. He connects people that are like-minded, and when he needs to feel he's, to say something, he does. And from a recruiting standpoint, Coach Mills and Coach McCaslin and certainly Coach Tang are all people that, really just knew Texas inside and out. And think about it. I mean, Alvin was connected to all 3 guys, not just by, working with them, but by a true sense. McCaslin was, is a phenomenal coach and a great person, and he won a national championship in junior college. He's won a national championship, the CBI in Division I, and Alvin worked with them, and Coach Tang is, very close with them as well. These are, it's a different deal when you have somebody like Alvin. His dad is a, Division I coach and been so for a long time. He was at Kentucky himself, and they're just stand-up people. I mean, you could do stories within the story of all these people. Coach Tang's journey, Coach Mills' journey, Alvin's journey, Coach Drew's journey. I mean, you could just go on and on. Coach McCaslin. I mean, everybody's got like an incredible story. I mean, it's movie worthy. But in order to keep going at Baylor, the school needs to really fortify as more so each year with the standards and the things that are going on now that weren't going on when I was certainly coaching. You have to fortify your coaches with the resources to be able to get the best coaches and to attract the best coaches. But in terms of the attractiveness of the job, Scott Drew turned down the University of Kentucky to stay in Waco. Now, nothing from nothing. I'd like to know who in their right mind would have thought 25 years ago that would be the case. So for anybody to turn down Kentucky. But college basketball, the landscape's different. You have to really give a major amount of recognition to all of Baylor Nation, all the people that get behind it, some people that you never see. It's incredible how many people just are kind, and they, even now they hit you on social media. They're really Bear fans. They really get behind the school. And those are people that are boosters, even if they're not contributing wealth of money. They're just, they're part of building something. And so, Baylor is, to me, top of the food chain. And that's why Scott stayed. I don't think it's just because it's family. It's a great situation. He loves it. I'm certain that his family, was, didn't want to probably go anywhere. But professionally, you guys all know that if certain opportunities you're kind of looking around, you're trying to make sure, and you're checking all of the, the I's, the T's, things dotted, the things crossed, and you have to make decisions. But Scott coming back is not just is a full blown decision of what he believes in Baylor. And as I said, there needs to be even more now than ever before people getting behind everything that's needed to keep the success moving forward. What
do you think about Billy Donovan possibly getting back in the college game. And there was rumors that Kentucky was interested in him, but you know him. You coached with him at Florida. You've known him before you coached with him at Florida. All of that. That was kind of an interesting thing to hear pop up. I know the Bulls aren't, ripping it up, necessarily, but they're building team and they seem to like what he's doing. But was Kentucky, is that just maybe a little too confident of Kentucky? Do you think they could pull a guy away from the Chicago Bulls?
Well, I think the Kentucky AD is a heck of an AD. That's my opinion. I think he's a faith-based guy. I've heard a lot of things about him from Travis Ford, and I coached at Eastern Kentucky, so we played Kentucky in 2005 in the first game of the NCAA tournament for EKU. It was like a storybook season, and for Kentucky itself. So I know that particular area, and obviously my relationship with Billy goes way back. But, you'd be ridiculous not to try to get Billy Donovan if you were them, because Billy coached there before. He's a successful coach at 2 different programs in the NBA. The NBA, I think, is, the loudest players league that you could ever imagine. To be a coach in that league, you really need to know how to coach, meaning, it's not just the teaching of the game, a system, and making decisions game-wise, et cetera. It's a bit of a circus. I mean, if they're paying players the money that they're paying, they continue to play them. It's not because they're the ones that are really making the money. The people that are making the money are the owners, and it's big business. So there's a level of circus to it. But Billy, to me, it's just when I watch him, I mean, his teams compete at every place he's been every year. Even his last year at OKC, where gradually all of the best players were leaving, and that's not up to Billy Donovan. That's a organizational thing. But the truth be told, he found ways for them to be successful. In his last year with Chris Paul, who everybody thought was, stick a fork in him, he's done as a point guard. Billy gave him a leadership role, and he kicked everybody's rear end, and he loudly, and he continues to be a great player. So Billy's not normal, and there's nothing normal about him. He's probably the 3rd or 4th best horse player I've ever played. I usually give him a good beating. I love him. And he's somebody that I don't think – I think the NBA to me is a retirement job. If you go to the NBA, it's going to be exhausting, no matter what anybody says. And the amount of time that you're away from family and everything, some people will say, well, there's not any recruiting, there's this and that. You know what? That's a lot of hooey too. If you don't have level of influence in some way, shape, or form as to who comes on your team, that's a problem. But Billy again had his team, basically in the cusp of the playoffs. He was in a playing game. Austin Default, who years ago was a kid that played at Colorado. He was part of the team that became great at Colorado. We played them in the NCAA tournament, I think in 2012. I forget exactly what year. If it was 2012, maybe it was 2012.
Yeah, it was. It was in Albuquerque, I think, wasn't it?
Yep. And he's somebody that I coached that summer, and got to be very close with him. I love Austin, and when Billy was looking for assistants, I know Austin was in the NBA for a while, and we had talked, and Billy makes up his own mind. But when you care about somebody, when you care about 2 somebodies, you want to connect them. So I just communicated, obviously, what I felt my heart told me to tell Billy, and Billy makes his own decisions with his staff, but he's with Billy. And what he says about Billy in terms of how he coaches and his demeanor as he comes in every day, it's just clear to me that Billy provides an example of somebody that, is really 40 years in this now, 30, 40 years, because he's wise, and he shows truth to him, and he gives people an understanding that this is your profession, and it's my profession too, obviously, to coordinate this, but we're going to be honest with you, and I'm going to put you in the best situation to be successful.
Tim Maloney, go ahead.
I don't think that college is in his future.
Tim Maloney has coached players, teams overseas, Germany. Was it Macedonia? Isn't that where you went?
Yeah, I'm an incredible genius. I mean, I'm the grand exalted high Mr. Gruler of basketball. I'm just a regular guy that happened to have irregular people be kind enough to have me around them, and I've enjoyed it. And I don't care what level it is. I could walk into a gym and it could be fourth graders. I'm just as excited as if you're in a national championship game. That's me, because the God I serve really doesn't care about, whether the TV coverage is there or ESPN, he doesn't care about any of that. Just cares about how you express your heart. Do you use what he's provided you in his son, meaning Christ, to basically for other people to see Christ in you by you just showing love? So I love the game. I love people. I mean, you teach the game, but you coach the person. I love coaching people. I don't care who it is, where it is, when it is. I'm just thankful that it is.
Beijing, among other places as well. Tim Maloney was on Scott Drew's staff with us. My last question for you and Tim, we appreciate your time.
Oh, I love talking to you guys. You guys always make me sound intelligent, which is beautiful.
No, it's easy. We just ask pretty much anything, and you're going to go with it, and you're good with it. Now, there are thoughts. Ashley Hodge, who you may know, who's a huge Baylor men's basketball donor and also somebody who covers them, had mentioned there's going to be a high school coach that Baylor has dipped into that talent pool as somebody that Scott is already pretty much not locked in completely. At least I don't think it's official. And then maybe even with Bill Peterson leaving, maybe bring somebody in who's got a little bit of that NBA background to join his staff. Does that kind of make sense to you?
Just look at somebody's history, and usually their history, unless it's a bad history, stays very similar. The truth is Jerome Tang and Paul Mills were both high school coaches before they ever stepped on a college campus. Paul ended up helping, on staff at a number of colleges, but he was a true high school coach, coached at two places. Coach Tang was 10 years at a school that he created into a national power. To me, if you don't have people that are truly invested in knowing how to coach, meaning you coach the person, if you don't have that, you're in trouble. The NIL and all of this stuff has made the peace in terms of just kids, negotiation wise. It becomes so transactional now that it's a little crazy. But I'm not upset with kids. Kids didn't put this situation in the way it's in now financially. But I want to have people on a staff that really know kids, know how to communicate, know how to be honest, are people that, if the kid comes to you and says, listen, I'm going to get $500,000 here as opposed to $200,000 here. Coach, I have to go. Well, you should be jumping up and down and saying you need to go get that. Because this is not a situation. A lot of kids in athletics, a lot of kids in college, a lot of people in life now with the status of way things are. Finances matter. They're tough. And if let's say you're a kid and, let's say you're somebody like Javion McCullum, who grew up in Fort Myers, Florida, and last year played at Oklahoma. He was the kid we competed against at Fort Myers High School when he was a player. And here's the kid, wasn't being looked at or anything else. His family would talk to me. He would talk to me. I loved the kid, met him before I ever coached back in Southwest Florida. Great kid. And no one was recruiting him. And he wanted to transfer to our school at Dunbar. And I let him know. I said, listen, where's your mom? And it was at an all-star game. Put my arm around him so that everybody in the area could say, oh, here's Maloney recruiting again. Put my arm around the kid, walked him to his mom. I said, hey, Ms. McCullum, I said, it's great to see you. I love your son. And she said, Coach Maloney, I know that. I said, I know a lot of people are talking to you about your son going to their school, right? And she, oh, yeah. And I said, I know he wants to come to Dunbar, right? Play with Caleb Jones and supposedly have me for a coach. No, Coach, we think the world. I said, well, if he comes, I just want you to know I'm going to cut him. I will not let him play. He will be done playing. He needs to stay at Fort Myers High School. Now, and I told her the reason is, why would anyone do that to your son and hurt his ability to be at a school, another institution in college? Because if I'm a college coach, I'm not recruiting you if you're jumping a million times. You've been successful at Fort Myers High School. You're going to leave to come to Dunbar just because, you coach is better or this, whatever circus thing, is going on. Be great where you're at. and that will provide you an opportunity. And you know what? It did. He got an offer at Siena. I told his mother and him, take that offer now. That was in the summer because no one recruited him in the state. Division II, Division III, nobody. He went. 2 years he was successful, went to Oklahoma, was successful there, and now he's at Georgia Tech. I can't say that kid is a disloyal kid or anything else if he's leaving an institution like Siena to go to Oklahoma, or to leave Oklahoma and get a little more finances at Georgia Tech. How could I say that? He needs to take care of his family and his mother and all of these people. My issue with today in basketball is this, and I'm sorry I'm taking too much time, but this is just what I think about. And I've always thought about this. This is the way, in high school, the way that you can recruit is don't recruit like everybody else. Don't break rules like everybody else. Be the opposite. Be someone that says, no, man, I don't talk to you about that stuff. It has worked for me since 1986. Kids find their way to your school, and everybody tries to say, oh, you recruited this. No, everybody's mad because they did what was wrong. They tried to do something that was best for their interest. But if you're a coach in today's world, you better make sure that as a coach in college, as a coach, certainly as a coach in high school, it's a must. But in college where, things get more transactional, you got to make sure that the kid, if they're getting an opportunity, you can't hold them back. You can't. And you got to make sure that they're provided, those are, and when they do, everybody else is going to watch on your staff. Everybody else that, every other player, every other coach. If you're not a leader, a CEO that is saying, I'm concerned about everybody here first, success is not following. You may have a blimp on the screen, success-wise, out of sheer dumb luck, but it ain't lasting. So I think Scott will do great. I'm rooting for Coach Mills, who I think is the best of the best. I think Coach Tang, best of the best, truly loves his players. Coach Mack, guys like Anthony Grant, Donnie Jones, guys like Frank Martin. I mean, I'm just, Scott Drew, I am all for Matt Driscoll. People that do it for the very reason it's in place coaching, to help young people learn how to be a we and not so much a me, and help themselves to become something that, other people can aspire to. So there's a ripple effect. I want people to benefit people. That's what matters to me.
Tim,
and you can do this. You can do this. Just send me a check. I'll go for $200,000 because if this wasn't good enough to up your ratings, there's a problem.
A lot of people appreciate the real from what, as you said, the we, not me, and the why. And Tim, great to have you on. We'll do it again. Can't wait.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. If you ever get back into Waco to come see Scott or whatever, make sure you let me know, okay?
Hey, I promise. I absolutely love you guys. I think you know it. You guys are the real deal, and you're always doing what's right. So keep it up, man.
Thank you very much. Tim Maloney has been all over the world coaching and being a part of basketball, and also, as he said, attached to Billy Donovan. He knows Pitino real well, Scott Drew, when he was on his staff during the time they were building the foundation to what became a national championship program. Paul Catalina